Yes.
We'll say the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Consider for approval minutes and agenda.
I'll make the motion to approve the minutes and the agenda.
I'll second it.
All right. Motion from Smith and a second from Derby to approve the minutes and agenda. All in favor, say aye.
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 All right, 9:01 a.m. Public hearing for DD 14 Lat 4 and 4A reclassification report.
I'll make a motion to open the public hearing.
I'll second.
And a motion from Derby and a second from Smith to open the public hearing for DD 14 Lat 4 Lat 4A reclassification report. In favor, say aye.
Aye.
Good morning.
Morning, Colin. Did Jim get one?
Jim, yeah.
Yes, 3 different things. So yeah, there's the actual report, the tables and stuff, and there's these dollars maps. So Drainage District 14, the entirety of it was reclassified in 2019, so not that long. As part of that process, basically, Jacobson Westergaard was part of that, did that reclassification, and it didn't consider what had happened. Look at one of these maps, maybe the one in the report. You open this report and you go to the first map, maybe about 4 pages in. It's like this. So in the early 1980s, there was a tile improvement project that was, so on this map you see there's a blue dotted line and a red dotted line. The red dotted line is tile that we're calling lateral 4A that was constructed in the early 1980s. Prior to that, there was, I think it was called main number 4 tile. That it was basically that blue line, and then where that ends, kind of to the south and west, where it gets close to the red dot, it continued from there south. So basically the red one kind of intercepted this lower portion here and took all that water into a different spot in the ditch. And then these acres here remained on the blue tile, but it just had less acres on that old tile. So it kind of helped everybody that way. Like some properties that had this brand new tile and others that still had the old tile, but there was less acres on it, less water drain. So anyways, when the reclassification was done in 2019, that wasn't considered. Basically, what I believe happened is that they just looked at the 100-year-old maps, which, if that was done in the 80s, wouldn't be on the 100-year-old maps, and did the reclassification that way. So my understanding is that there's some repair work or some work going to be done in this area, and Terry was involved with that, and like, well, this is right. And so basically that's how this got started.
And I was one of the original people to pay for that new one.
Right. So you remember?
Yeah.
Yep. So anyways, we're, as far as our, my time on this and our engineer, like, we're not sending a bill for fixing it basically. It was not done correctly 7 years ago. So kind of start with that. I apologize for that happening. And I looked, it was strange because I thought, well, did they just not have the information, but I looked back into the file and it was there. And it was there that they talked about the stuff that happened in the 80s. They just, I don't know what happened.
There was a lot to the file, I know that.
Sure.
There was a lot of parts of it over the years and things that happened that didn't happen.
Yeah, and that, for some of these drainage districts, can be one of the challenging things is tracking. Because it's easy to look back at that first map, but sometimes they didn't even build all that. It was just the original.
Exactly.
The
It was a
proposal.
proposal and it didn't happen.
Yeah.
And the main four almost, I mean, there was about 3 proposals. Your dad did the first proposal of just, I can't remember what it was. It was just a simple project, but then they started adding to it, and then the whole thing fell through.
Oh yeah, that's how this got started. So with this reclassification, essentially we're splitting, we're making different assessment schedules for these 2 tile lines. And split them off. So we got lateral 4A, which is the red dotted line there. And then this blue line, moving forward, we're just going to call that lateral 4. And I know in that 80s project, there was a proposal to do a lateral 4B, and that would have gone from this blue line, and I think continued actually down this, one of those directions, but really more this way. And those black dotted lines are other lateral tile. I think like
6 goes south.
Yeah.
14 goes to the east.
Okay. Yeah. And so those have different assessment schedules that were done in 2019. So we did mess around with those. So yeah, if there's repairs and stuff going to be done, we just as well have, good assessment schedules to be able to fairly distribute the cost of the repairs. So we've got 2 different assessment schedules. Like I said, we're going to do lateral 4, which is the blue dotted line, and lateral A, which is the red dotted line. And we've got that split into their different benefited areas. So the lands that benefit, or the lands that use the one tile and don't use the other, the right people are going to be paying for any maintenance that is done on a particular district tile. With reclassification, it's all got to be based on benefit. And so it's each parcel that benefits or uses the tile. We look at all these different factors to try to come up with benefit, the acres in that parcel, with different soil types and need for drainage, really. If you've got poorly drained soils that need drainage, really good farmland, then they have a higher benefit from these drainage systems than like a sandy soil that doesn't need much drainage. And then how close you are to the facility, like how easy is it for you to get your water into that tile. Further you are away, the more you have to do to get your water to it. And then how much of it do you use? So if you're on the bottom end and your water goes through, like, let's say a few hundred feet of the tile versus a mile of it, the person who uses a mile of it would, have higher benefit from that overall system and pay a higher dollar or have higher benefit. When we smash all those factors together, we come up with an overall benefit, and then we can apply with these dollars maps. You see, there's this theoretical $10,000 levies. So if there is a $10,000 bill, these dollar maps show both dollars in a parcel and dollars per acre in that parcel. What each each tract of land pay towards that $10,000 bill. If it's a $20,000 bill, it's just double. You know, if it's 50,000, it's 5 times. The proportionality stays the same no matter what the bill is. So you can kind of see the spreads there. I don't know if there's any questions on any of that. I don't like lateral 4A. See that a little bit better, how it's a longer stretch and it's narrow, like at the north end. Those lands have a lower dollar per acre amount. The greens are low dollar per acre, the reds are high. And they use less of that system. So that's a big reason why their dollar per acre is less than those at the south end. Those at the south end use that whole entire tile to get their water away and into the oak ditch. Any questions?
So explain why the one on the dollars map, that's the $65 per acre. Why is that one so much higher per acre?
Which map?
It's the dollars map. This,
The lateral 4,
Lateral.
yeah, lat 4, the farthest, the,
and it actually overlaps into the other 4A main, or lat
Oh,
4A.
why is that one so much higher?
yeah,
So
just so I'm reading these maps
Yeah.
correctly.
they would have, and I can look at the soils, but I know just off the top that they're close to that tile, so they've got direct access to it. That's one thing that drives their number up. Another thing is that of that blue line, they're at the top end of that, so they're using that entire stretch to get their water to the ditch. So compared to other parcels in here, that's another thing that would drive their number up.
And you look at it and it weaves in and out of it, so
There's
it's covering
more
a lot of
it,
area there
yeah.
Right.
lineally.
That's what I was wondering, if that was kind of the explanation, that it kind of was doing double duty in there.
That does, I think, make the distance to the tile for that parcel makes that their benefit factor a lot higher. Because some, like, well, it loops through here, but there's still parts of, like, the next parcel to the east.
Mhm.
There's still parts of that parcel that are actually quite far away, where with that one, the $65 an acre one, there's not much that's very far away.
Yeah.
That time. I can look. The soil, so it's mostly just those things that we talked about. The soil factor for that parcel is, a bunch higher than the rest of them. So it's
Okay.
really just, it's mostly the use and proximity.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions?
Numbering. I'm looking at our map here.
Yeah.
And you're calling this one lat 4. And on this map here, straight off the ditch to the east is called lat 4. And which isn't on this map, but on our map we have a lat 4 that goes straight off the ditch.
Okay.
We have to fix Beacon.
Okay.
Those maps right.
So before we had renumbered that then?
Correct.
Okay, all right,
That is years ago.
all right.
That's even before 3 plats. So.
Before 19 then,
Yes.
okay.
Well, as long as we get that straightened out, what we
It'll
call
take a
that one.
while. You have to get shape files from the engineer to get those to the assessor to get be correct, and that's
Okay.
a big process.
All right,
Yep.
thanks. Well, I think that'll probably solve our issues with it then.
Question,
Yeah, Jim?
how does this compare to the old way?
No way.
The old plastic? Just the change?
Well, so one thing about, they're really not comparable. And the reason why is if you look at that same map that I was pointing out that shows everything together, this map with the red and the blue showing, before there was an assessment schedule for what main number 4, and it's that blue dotted line, but then it continues to the south along that red dotted line. So there's this area up here that is not included in that schedule, but everything else is. And so what the problem with using that assessment schedule, if there's repairs going to be done on this blue dotted line tile, is that there's this chunk of land down here in the southwest part of this that doesn't even use that tile. Their water goes to the ditch along this red dotted line. So they have no benefit. They have no benefit from that blue dotted line tile anymore. So rightfully they should not be paying into that. So I guess that's the best way I can explain how they're different, because as far as anything other than that, I can't really tell you.
And I know, because I have the sheet up before the changes, he
Okay.
had 3 parcels in it, and now he only has 2, which is
Okay.
fine. But the cost went up roughly $300, saying $10,000
Okay.
on one parcel, and went up like $50 on the other parcel. And then the other one just dropped off. Wasn't in it. So
From 40,
that's more what he was asking,
Yeah.
is how did it
Oh,
affect him
okay.
dollar-wise?
On yours.
Yeah, yeah, because of this,
Yeah.
the repairs that we're doing. So I got him answered too.
Okay.
You did and I did.
Yeah, and the idea is that the way it's set up currently wouldn't be a fair way of doing it. So that getting this fixed is the goal, is to make it fair for not only for the repairs that are being done or maybe have been done, I'm not aware, real soon, and then also moving forward in the future. There's more stuff that's done. It's set up and it's ready.
That
And-
makes more sense?
Yeah.
Yep, okay.
and vice versa. If 4A gets repaired, then 4
Yeah.
doesn't pay on it.
That's
Right, and then
That's
he won't
right.
pay him.
Yeah, and I guess before this, there was no separate schedule for 4A. It was like it didn't exist.
Mhm.
So that was part of this too, was just making sure that's all correct.
And we did talk about that little blue chunk that's in the watershed up
The,
the
over,
red.
the overlap.
And the only way that you could take out that little chunk is you have to close off the tile at where the red, where the watershed ends, and then reconnect the blue to the red.
But-
And then that would change it
I mean,
again.
they're paying in both districts, so it really
That's
doesn't
part
make,
of it. Yeah.
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 So, but that would be another full repair that they're not asking.
right.
So unless somebody wanted that to be done, it didn't make sense in the class now to move it.
Down the road, if they're having drainage problems at the very top of that line, they could
You
do
bet.
that.
Yep. So that's why that blue. I think that's possible.
you have to change the profile of the tile the other direction.
Okay, anything else for that? I would entertain a motion to close the public hearing.
I'll make a motion to close the public hearing for DD 14, Lat 4 and 4A reclass report.
I'll second.
Motion from Derby and a second from Smith to close the public hearing for DD 14, Lat 4 and 4A classification report. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Consider for approval DD 14, Lat 4 and 4A reclassification report.
I'll make a motion to approve the DD 14, Lat 4 and 4A reclassification report.
I'll second.
Motion from Derby and a second from Smith to approve DD 14, Lat 4 and 4A reclassification report. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
And thanks, Colin, for
Yeah, thank you.
for not
Thank you
billing
for,
us on that
well, it would
as
be
well.
right.
No, it wouldn't.
well, but there are a lot of people in the world who do it anyway, so.
Indeed. I'm glad I'm not one.
Yeah, appreciate your efforts.
Thank you. Thanks. Okay.
Rick had done some work on this lateral, maybe have a list of this.
Okay.
That would be nice.
All right. Then we'll move on to number 5, 9:15 a.m. or shortly thereafter. Lawrence Doden to discuss DD 35, Lat 12.
Mine's not
We like
You didn't make a pretty one?
Well, I've got a colorful map of it.
mine's not black.
Oh, yeah.
It's 35.
Thanks, Jim.
Yeah, have a good day.
Thanks, Jim. Thanks, Lauren.
Begin now, or how do
Yeah.
I start?
Sure.
Go ahead.
We just like to hear whatever you have to say.
Okay, well, if it quit raining, we wouldn't have any problems, right?
Yeah, or it would just rain proper amounts each time,
Then we
Yes.
wouldn't have any crops either.
and always at night. It's, basically, you've got,
Okay, I'll read this,
Yeah.
short little introduction here. Petition to restore lateral 12 waterway in section 15 of Grant Township. I'm petitioning the commissioners to restore lateral 12 to its original engineered condition as constructed in 1955. In 1999, I filed a petition that resulted in the removal of some silt and soil from a small portion of the waterway. While it provided temporary relief, it did not address the entire or the full length of lateral 12. Over the past 71 years, no comprehensive survey has been conducted to assess the condition of the waterway or the accumulation of silt and debris. Many sections are now severely clogged, which prevents waterway properly removing excess surface water. This causes ponding on the land and overwhelms the existing internal tile system. Tile system was originally designed with a coefficient of only 1/8 to maybe 1/16 of an inch, far below today's recommended 1/2 inch standard. Because of this, moving surface water off the land as quickly as possible is critical. I'm not requesting any upgrades or changes to the design of the waterway, only that it be returned to the condition that all landowners along the lateral 12 originally paid for and are entitled to. Restoring proper function to lateral 12 will benefit every landowner on this system. Thank you for your time and consideration. Now, lateral 12 has always been kind of a issue in that area. It's woefully undersized for what it really needs to drain. However, if you look at the Oh, there was an engineering report that was put out, you can read that later, but there's some pretty interesting, features that are, documented in this. And, it was, originally engineered or made in, I think it was, 1914, something like that. Later on, they understood that it needed additional drainage, and that's when, in 1954 and 1955, the overland waterway was installed. And for 71 years, to my recollection, nobody has ever resurveyed it or taken into consideration any farmed-in soil or silt that filled in the water. As it is currently, it drops into, it drains into a drainage ditch in Cassuth County. A year ago, I looked at this situation where the Cassuth County drainage ditch was virtually empty. And it's probably, to my assessment, anywhere from 15 to 20 feet below, where to the west or to the east on this lateral 12, there probably was 1,000 acres of water sitting, and it was not draining off of there through the overhead waterway. The waterway has been neglected for many, many years, and it just needs to be refurbished, repaired to its original design grade. That's what I basically is asking or petitioning for here. You, as the Board of Commissioners, has the sole responsibility to order a survey. And I would like to have that done of the entire waterway to find out what is actually
Functioning and not functioning?
What's that?
What's functioning and what's not functioning?
There's certainly areas in there that probably do not need to be cleaned, but in 1999, when I did this 25 years ago, they did a lateral description of the surface waterway and where it was filled in service some places, and this was just on a short, probably 1 mile. There was areas in there that had 3 to 3.5 feet of soil that had moved into areas. Driving around looking at the waterway as it exists today, there's areas where there's culverts that flow underneath the road that are at least maybe 2 or 3 feet below the surrounding soil that it actually flows onto. And that's just an indication that it's been farmed in, silted in, filled in, and it just needs to be addressed. The tile system there, yes, we're not going to get a new tile. A new tile, if they recommended to alleviate some of the problem, is a 60-inch tile. We all know what they cost. They cost a lot. An open ditch, that's not going to happen. Nobody wants to farm that. But we have to be able to utilize what we have and make what we have there function properly. If we can move the vast amount of water that falls on there rapidly overland, that will move faster, much faster than anything we can put in the ground. Any questions?
Where does the open ditch start?
It starts about 40 to 50 rods into Cassuth County.
Oh, so that whole length coming in our county is open ditch then? Or open waterway?
Open waterway.
Okay.
All lateral 12 is situated on top of that main tile. The main tile emptying into that drainage ditch in Cassuth County. It's a 32-inch tile.
Yeah.
And it begins on the east side of section 15, and it starts out as an 8-inch tile.
So we've got a tile and a waterway.
And a tile
That
and
is
a
our
waterway
drainage
that's on
system.
top.
Okay.
This waterway has, like I said, for 71 years, never has it been addressed or repaired.
Well, I know
Was this the one that Roger Aukus was talking about a couple of years ago, a few years back?
that was a few years ago.
Yeah,
That's what I was going to
yeah,
say.
it's
We
quite a
had a
few.
big discussion on this.
It seems like we had a meeting out at barn was on it.
Well, yes, that was 25 years ago.
No, this would have been.
We were both on the
Oh,
board.
you were, okay.
Yeah, no,
all right.
I've been like,
25 years ago when I, this first original.
sometime in the mid 2000 teens, I would
Okay,
guess,
I
to late,
wasn't
mid to late,
aware of that.
yeah.
Probably right after you get on the board, so.
Yeah, I can't
Yeah,
remember.
it was September 19th, 2017.
Okay.
There was a public hearing for anybody. Letters were sent out to all landowners about a public hearing to talk about that waterway.
I
And it was
remember
in the paper.
then a lot of the landowners got a little scared of what everything was gonna cost.
Well, it's gonna cost. Everybody wants to rely on the legacy drainage system that was put in 100 years ago.
Yeah.
Well, that's failing us now because it was sized too small. And of course, back then, it was expensive. Tiling and drainage is always expensive. Our land doesn't work very well if we don't have that.
So is this, a grass waterway, the entire
It's
district?
not a grass waterway.
Okay.
It's just a dirt waterway and we're allowed to farm,
Okay,
which that brings up a whole different kind of discussion.
crushing,
Since it's, you can farm through it, you can farm dirt back into it. Well, it's been farmed that way for 71 years. And nobody has addressed the, repair this system.
It seems like that they had deduced that the tile was working as good as it could, if I remember right.
Well, the tile doesn't work very well at all because of
It's
all the water that's ponded.
It's
on
undersized,
top
but,
of the soil.
yeah.
And until the ponded water goes away, the internal drainage system won't work. The internal drainage system of the tile is completely overwhelmed. And
Yeah.
of course, it's woefully too small to begin with.
No, I mean, they deduced that it was flowing, but it was just overwhelmed.
It's overwhelmed. If we could move the vast majority of this water rapidly overland, that reduces the need for overwhelming the existing tile. Yes, it's gonna cost some money to do this, but everybody in this whole system is gonna benefit, whether or not you, rely on the internal drainage or you just rely on the surface. The water has to go away.
Yes, Chris?
Back in 15, there was a report to see how the waterway was working, and at that point, it was working fine. In 17, there was a report to see how the waterway was working, gave it to an engineer. That's when they recommended 4 options. Landowners at that time decided to do nothing. In 24, I texted the Harv to look at. In 26, Lawrence called again. We checked on, the Harv checked on it again. And now we're back here in 26. So it has been checked on over the years, and at that time, the contractor felt it was working
Was
fine,
it surveyed?
but not surveyed. They just looked to see
Okay,
if
looking
it
and
was.
surveying is a whole lot of difference.
But I don't believe anybody's ever asked, to my knowledge, since I've been here, to specifically ask a survey. It's just been asked to look at, not to survey it. So that may be the difference in what's been happening also.
so if he's requesting a survey, and since the waterway was part of the system, right? Then that's a repair, right? To just survey it.
I would think so.
If it
Because
wasn't part of
you-
the system, then it's like an improvement.
There was a survey, report shows that it's with so many percent.
Here we are,
I didn't read it fully.
yeah, here we are 11 years later.
But it also said something about 10 years from when they did that, they recommended private clean the whole pad in Cassuth County due to silting down there. But
So then that's a Cassuth thing that we have to get with to have them clean that. Or we,
that was just a recommendation. That was possible 10 down the road. So
Well, my observation of looking at west of the Cassuth County, or the Cassuth County and Winnebago County, the Cassuth County thereon was completely dry to the west. I mean, the drainage ditch in Cassuth County had very little water in it, any to speak. On the Winnebago Canal side, there was probably 1,000 acres of water saved, and it was not. There was nothing flowing underneath of the county line.
So is there an issue with the tile also? Does the water?
No, that's not an issue with the tile, it's just an issue with the above ground water. It's been farmed in, it's almost flat, so there's no indication of even of waterway exists.
I think what he's basically saying is that he doesn't think waterway is moving enough water so that city piles.
Exactly. The tile has to remove all the standing water because there's no water moving across the surface of the plant. I've seen water move across the surface of the plant, and in 24 hours, you can get rid of 2-inch rainfall very, very fast because you've got a huge volume of water moving versus a tile that's this big.
Yeah, so if we hire an engineer to go out there and do a report on it, and he deduces that it's within the standards, you would be happy with paying the bill to find that out,
Yes.
or, yeah.
I mean-
It's kinda like rolling the dice, you know,
Well, it's
because there is a report that says that it was within,
well, it needs to be put back to its original grade.
yeah.
So the original one on your letter here says that it's really only 1/8 to 1/16 of that.
That's the tile.
Oh, that's,
That's the tile.
okay,
That is not the overland waterway.
okay,
That is just the internal drainage of it.
Yeah, it's the tile coefficient.
okay.
It's, the tile.
It's
is
not a
even-
measurement of the
No, we aren't
waterway.
gonna touch the tile. All we gotta do is
Okay.
just survey the land and, to find out whether there's high spots, low spots, and find out what the impeding flow of this water will plan.
You know, I guess that's,
So there's currently water standing out there now, or?
Yes.
Okay.
Well, we didn't get too much rain
Yeah,
yesterday.
yeah.
But,
It stands too
you know,
long.
A week ago, we had lots of rain and there was lots of water standing.
there's about roughly 4 miles of it in Winnebago County, I would guess.
I suppose, there's.
Just from looking at it and guessing here,
Yeah.
it flows
there's
across
a map.
4 different sections, kinda.
Yeah.
And then how many more feet is it to the dredge ditch in?
It's probably about 50 or 60 runs. Or, you know, that's.
I mean, I've been out there and looked at it before, I have a really good memory, it just doesn't last very long. But,
I mean, if it doesn't really seriously affect you, yes, you don't pay attention. But it
So-
seriously affects everybody in that area.
so then we would have to contact Cassuth County too then,
Well,
I
Well, actually,
suppose.
12
I don't
is-
think the Cassuth County
12.
has
I think
much
the
to do
waterway
with it.
is just in our county.
yeah.
Hmm.
12 is
Not
mostly
enough,
ours,
not
right?
enough of the waterway is in Cassuth to make
No,
a difference.
To involve them.
So
No,
lat
you
lat
get the
12
water
is
off
mostly
it's
Winnebago,
gonna
so.
flow into Cassuth, because there's a dramatic amount of fall in Cassuth County just for the water to move over land.
What I wrote down in 17 or whatever is that Winnebago County has 99.9% of it. And
Mm.
Cassuth has just,
Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah.
so.
I knew it wasn't much, but I just couldn't remember how little their
Yeah.
much was.
So we would contact them, they
to-
would have that much of a bill, but
Yeah.
they don't have any decisions that to be.
Yeah, no.
But it's, you know, this, repair thing, I've given you a copy of that, the highlight there, that the board at any time on its own motion without notice may, necessary to restore or maintain a drainage or levee improvement to its original efficiency or capacity, and for that purpose, may remove silt, repair, and remove, and, they can establish well, you gotta serve it, that's all.
Well, it says you shall maintain in there, and if all we're doing is maintain, and all else we gotta do here is just make up our minds, we're gonna put that on your plate to possibly, investigate for us.
I'd appreciate that. I mean, that's what I wanna know is, the whole thing has to be made whole so it functions for everybody in the area. Yes, nobody wants to spend any money, but drainage is, crucial for the lifeblood of this land.
It's as important as fertilizer, if not.
And it's not getting paid cheap. You know, they didn't wanna pay the expense, years ago.
Yeah, I see
Well,
it was,
Still not gonna.
Relative to incomes, this expense has probably always been about the same, just back then they decided.
But I also see a lot of farmers wanting to invest in drainage now because it's so important and
It is.
they're
I
willing
use
to put the
those
money
pig
in it.
farmers pattern tile fields. And
Yeah.
of course, there's been a lot more pressure put on the
Well,
internal drainage, just
The
with
pattern
normal
tiling is just
tiling.
completely overwhelmed.
It's being overwhelmed.
We got so many drainage districts that the main going is so, like
It's an
DD
interesting-
21 is terrible.
It's an interesting feature. I went to a drainage meeting in Minnesota once, and in Minnesota, to do a tiling project in Minnesota, you have to prove your outlet.
Mm-hmm.
Otherwise, you don't get approved to put a tile in.
Yeah.
If your outlet's not big enough, no, you cannot pour water in this
You
tile.
can't just
Here in the-
Dump your high ground onto the guy's low ground.
Exactly
Yeah.
right. But get this water off overhead, from the surface, and everything else inside work better.
So on the agenda, we did not have any action.
Okay.
No,
We can discuss it today and
We
make
can put
the
it on.
action next week, and you wouldn't have to be here for that. They would just
Okay.
we'll just
Yeah, that's-
make
okay
it formal.
Jacobs and Westergaard to go out there and if he can
If
squeeze
that's
it in,
okay.
can you squeeze it in?
As you say, if it's okay.
Yeah, yeah.
While
It's
we're
good that
talking
you
about
said
it, do you have any questions on what the scope of work would be?
I don't think so. The only one curiosity I had, remember, like, what kind of grades are on that?
There's certain grades, the only part that I have is just one small, depiction of a grade of what they cleaned out in 2000. And,
I presume it's really flat, though.
in my
it's-
sister's farm is very flat, but after that, it does, transition into a respectable grade. But it is flat enough that if it's not working, it messes everything.
Yeah, and I know Roger Hawkins is there. I mean, that's flat enough there that he's always got water standing. That's why he brought it up in the first place.
Yeah,
So
and
I-
I presume since it's not a grass waterway, I'm assuming if we get appointed to do this, time is certainly of the essence, because crops will,
be cropped.
a lot are planted and probably stuff will start growing here.
Well, as far as, I mean, now would be a great opportunity to
Yeah.
survey it, because there's nothing growing.
Right.
It's more difficult to survey when there's crops growing up there. I don't know how you survey land nowadays. The technology we have available, a lot of the stuff is done drone or satellites. I mean, I've got technology tile with RTK that that's within a half inch of grade, and that's just old technology today. Nowadays, I could go out there and drive around with my ATV with a globe on it and use the RTK and get a grade of the land. I don't know how they survey stuff nowadays, but it's got to be a lot better than the chain and
Yeah.
the compass or the
Little thing on the
scope.
tripod.
Yes.
So
Those were the good
if there
old
was
days.
work that had to be done, is that something you'd be satisfied next fall being
Yes.
done after
Yeah,
the
no, yeah,
drops
the
are
work
off?
would have
We
to be,
can't, I don't expect guys there. Anytime you mess with the soil in the spring, really screws.
Yeah,
It doesn't have the advantage of winter.
Right.
Mhm.
recovery.
The soil and making.
no, it's just,
I
we
know
just gotta
why.
figure out what needs to be done.
Yes,
And
but
then,
first of all, it needs to be surveyed.
mhm.
That's the first question, that's the first, determination of what needs to be done.
So if we're
And-
saying that the survey is considered a repair, then anyone who might want a remonstrance on any of this,
They
that
can't.
they can't because it's
They
a
can't.
repair.
Yeah, you shall maintain.
If it
So,
wasn't part of
I'm
the
just making it
district,
clear for the
Right.
public,
yeah, if this wasn't part of the tile district, then it'd be a different story.
yes.
And
But-
you,
Yep.
as trustees of the district, are wanting to know if it is at original,
Mhm.
and a survey would do that. So you are, as trustees of the district, making it correct.
Well, I
Yeah.
can't
Yeah.
see
And-
any repairs being that expensive. I mean, You get one dozer out there in the fall or after crops are out, it can't be that expensive to move dirt.
It's not like putting in,
Yeah,
It's not like
Giant
putting
tile.
in a new 60-inch, major.
yeah.
yeah. But we could get a price on that, just so we can
No, we're
compare.
not, we don't even want.
No, they got a price back in 17 or whatever it was, and it scared everybody.
And again, in 1996, there was a remonstrance too.
I mean,
so-
I'm all for having everything work right. You guys are the ones that get to pay for it.
Right.
And, that's your decision on whether everybody wants to pay for things or
The
not.
untold amount of profit to person that this whole lateral 12 is experiencing is hard to fathom, even at, yes, we grow corn and soybeans out there and all of it doesn't die. But we want 100% profit. We pay 100% tax on all those acres and we expect it to grow profit.
And 100% of the seed and the fertilizer and the,
You want 200 bushel an
Right.
acre, not 100.
I think people want more than 2.
yeah.
Well, yeah,
We'll
no,
see if
2
we
is
can
good,
solve
kinda.
it.
So we'll put it on the agenda for next week to review.
That sounds great.
And you wouldn't
I
have-
mean, I
Yeah.
appreciate it.
And you wouldn't have to come next week. We'll just,
Okay, so I'll be.
Hopefully you'll be
Well,
farming.
hope-
Hopefully.
Sounds like we aren't going to get any more rain this week.
Yeah.
Sounds like be relatively dry, but cold.
Yeah, it's still gonna be a little chilly.
All right, I appreciate your time and,
Thank you for your thoroughness. You can have this.
Here, you can take this,
Yeah,
my
we can
copies
copy
here.
these.
We've got 3. Where's the stapler? Oh, there it is.
There you go.
Pass it.
all I have is my written.
You're good, thank you so
And
much.
by the way, this little dissertation here, I use Gronk.
AI.
That is amazing.
Yeah, AI is great, as long as it's used for good.
and as long as there's full disclosure that you
Yeah.
used it.
Yeah.
That, read or spoke in my notes. She gave me the dissertation here, and I just had a copy and print.
So your guys are on a first name basis then?
Ava.
Yep.
So thank you very
All right,
much.
yeah, thanks, Lawrence.
Have a good day.
Yep,
Thanks for your thoroughness.
you're welcome.
All right, now we'll go to auditor's office, we'll discuss drainage matters, being this has all been so fun.
I did not have anything other than,
Sure, he gets.
oh, yeah, I have it all. Right here. Yes, sir.
Yep.
Thank you.
I'll read it.
Did you guys have anything for drainage?
I don't.
Okay.
Oh, I got one that's kind of drainage secondary roads, both. But, might wanna wait, you wanna wait for Ethan to come back in for that one, or? All right, then,
Tom Kingland, I talked to him again this morning about the beaver dams on his, just, nobody's showed up, nobody's done anything. So does it make sense to just put it on everybody's list and whoever can get there first?
I don't like to do that because I don't know when they're gonna get on there, to get there, so then,
I know,
so I will call Rockner's,
Helgeson.
Helgeson's.
He was gonna call him too, so.
Okay,
no.
because that might be something that Sean just needs to go take care of that, instead of doing, just get that done,
Yeah,
so. I
you know,
can take
same
care of that.
situation. He can't do what he needs to
You can't
do
get
on
that
his,
from here. Okay, I will call Sean.
thanks, Chris.
I believe that might take a little bit, so let me go just grab them and we'll.
well, we can move on to Scott Minder's engineer, will discuss secondary road matters, all kind of the same there, so.
I don't have too much. Just wanted to mention we had Ziegler out to look at our backhoe loader yesterday, so we should have a final on that soon, if not already.
mailbox. And then we met with the dust pods representative. The dust pods is one of the products that we're going to try for gravel road stabilization. They're going to give us a half a mile of product, and we'll buy whatever else is remaining. We're going to target 150th Avenue south from Highway 9 as our first trial. And things go well, we might do all three of those locations. We got guys pulling in shoulders kind of aggressively and trying to get the right crown built into those roads before we and kind of get the vegetative material kind of worked out before we show up. We're looking as early June for that work.
Just the half mile then?
I think we'll do a mile at least.
Okay.
And it comes in, like, each mile takes 7-gallon jugs of powder. So it's not like you have to ship in these large totes of liquid like some other stabilization products.
Only 7 gallons of it?
It's 7 gallons of highly concentrated powder. So each one gets, I don't know, I want to say dissolved, gets turned into solution in 1,000 gallons of water and applied in a tank. So we'll do at least the 1 mile.
So you're saying 1,000 gallons of mix for a mile or for 1 gallon?
For 1 gallon,
Yeah,
7 gallons for a mile.
All right.
Right?
Something like that. I don't quote me on that.
So about a semi tanker for a mile then, or what do you get? 6,000 gallons per tanker?
So you think that's 4,000.
Oh, okay.
Like truck tanker.
Is that one of the costs? Is that one of the costs involved on doing this then?
So the costs include product costs, the rental of the water truck unless we can borrow one. We have the graders, we have the scarifier, we have several roller options which we might have to try just to see. They recommend rubber tire roller. We have one pull behind, we have one on the back of the maintainer. So sounds like it's pretty flexible, the equipment. We also have the sheep's foot roller that we can try if we're having trouble. I don't probably have
Be a little learning curve.
a little learning curve, yeah.
A gallon per a whole semi-load, huh? It's kind of like when I haul tar, take one little bag of silicone and throw it in 8,000 gallons of tar. And the guys putting down the pavement say they could tell the difference. I say, really? How could it be? Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how it comes out.
Yeah, I'd say we'll firm up the dates and I can let you know of that. I think that's really the main outstanding detail of really just kind of organizing the equipment.
So the tanker, the trailer would have to have a sprayer on the back of it, is that?
Sort of a, yeah.
Some kind of a
discharge
bar back
nozzle
there to-
or a bar, one of the two.
I've seen trailers like that before, but I don't know who's got them.
It sounds like it doesn't really run very well, but you should get better mixing.
So if you had a pump and then a sprayer of some sort.
Ziegler's got water trucks that have section.
Mm-hmm.
So if we try it like this and rent it, then maybe eventually try to gear up for any, or you think it's just so infrequent that just renting all the time would be better?
Mega trailer, just like what most farmers have for water trucks. But DPC or
Mm-hmm.
trailer and water. I mean, it'd be basically the same thing.
So do you put the solution into a pile in the middle, or do you spread it out and then put it in?
You mix it in water as you go.
I would say you would probably wanna put some water in it, then put the stuff in and then finish filling it.
No, I'm talking about when you distribute it.
It's mixed in.
He's asking, do you broadcast it over the whole road, or do you windrow a pile of gravel down
Yeah.
the middle and then spread it?
Cause don't you put it to the middle?
You rip the road up. Just broadcast, let it soak in. 'Cause you let
Oh,
it-
and then work it back and
then work
forth?
it back and forth.
Okay, all right. So for that time you're working on it, it's gonna be a little rough for people getting in and out.
Yeah, it's 4 inches of the road surface.
Trading.
In the window, that's a lot.
So your access is gonna be limited,
Sounds like zero.
but it's still better than snowstorms.
Yeah.
We'll be able to get,
Yeah. The equipment's gonna be right there if you have.
I mean, you'll be working it back and forth, so it'll be like just the same as
Maintaining a road in a sense,
maintaining the road.
one side at a time.
Well, sounds like a good plan.
Yeah, it'd be fun to see how it works.
Okay. And I guess I've got one for my sister's out there. She, isn't real happy about the maintainer winging the dirt up on her yard. And she thought you were a little less than sympathetic, whether you intended to be that way or not, I don't know, but, I went out and took a good look at it last night. I mean, I can go out there, I'll just back drag it all with my blade. I mean, the grass is, I mean, it's gonna make pretty bumpy mowing there for them, but I can probably back drag it all back and with the blade on my pickup. But the thing is that we just have to make sure that the maintainer operator knows that when he goes through there, he has to lift his wing. There's at least 4 piles about that high, stripes going across there where he did it 3 to 4 times. And so he, you know, do I understand? Yeah, no, it's not easy. I mean, I'm running up just blade with my pickup, but you know, things don't work the way. But that's one of those places where he's just got to lift that. When he goes across their place, he's got to lift that because the ground goes up from the road there.
you don't have to know, probably hard to tell, part of the winter it happened, if it was the end or the beginning.
Well, being it was done 3 to 4 times, I'm guessing it was some maybe at the beginning and
Yeah.
certainly some at the end, possibly. I mean, it's in stripes on the yard. I mean, it's 4 different.
It's on, you know, Riley's our new guy, it's on the ground.
No, I told him that it's a new guy and that everybody's got to learn. It's nothing on him. I'm not. I mean, it is what it is. But it's one of those things where you just got to figure out how we're going to remember to. So, because Lynn says she's getting too old to go out there and rake that dirt back.
I appreciate that.
She just needs to hire the younger people.
I'm older than she is.
But you nailed it on the head, is that where people's yards slope up from the road, there's certainly an extra challenge there.
No,
When the snow is.
and you're
piled up,
looking and you're watching this and all that, and then it's, man, I can understand. It's easy to forget. I mean, but it's just one of those things where we just need to try to remember. So,
I want to put all on the new guy. There was a lot of fill in that route with gap in employment. But me, that route, so
mhm.
I'll take partial.
Yeah,
Probably you.
yeah, I wasn't trying to blame Riley either, I'm just mostly.
Well,
pointing out
no,
that we've had to
he's
turn over
new,
position.
and then there was one other guy that was relatively new that did it too, and he actually went out and fixed it. Yeah, and I mean, yeah, it's what it is. You just got to try and remember. So if you pass the message on,
Yeah.
my sister would surely appreciate it, and so would I. Listen to him.
Brent was really good. He was usually out there at 6:30 in the morning. Like, oh, yeah, we're gonna
Well, I guess has there been a priority put on EMS personnel's roads to there?
Maybe I don't wanna be plowed out, Billy,
Oh,
did
no,
you ever
well.
think of that?
Oh, yeah, well, there are times I wish they didn't plow you out,
Yeah.
but, yeah,
Usually I'm not even home, it's just my kids.
yeah. Yeah, and they don't wanna get out, cause they don't have to go to school maybe, so, yeah. Yes.
Can we get back to the drainage one, so I
Oh, all right. Then the other one is, oh, out Al Divins where we did the ditch out there and dug it out. And, he has some concerns now where the bank is caving in because you guys dug, it's pretty deep in the bottom there, which solves the flow problem. But, and he's concerned that it's gonna keep sloughing in and get into his field, and he's gonna have an issue in his field or whatever, and the one is relatively close to the field. Do I think it's an immediate danger of having a dip there? No. But, he wants to bury a pipe in there now. It should be an 18 to a 24 inch culvert for, I don't know what that is, 100 and,
Like 300 when we wheeled, or so.
okay, 300 feet.
Anywhere where it's kind of got the
Yeah.
vertical side.
Alls I remember figuring it out, and I figured the pipe would be $6,000-7,000 for sure. That many feet. Now that's the ultimate fix. I mean, because then you wouldn't have to ever worry about cleaning the bottom of the ditch out again, all that, because it would, it could get covered with snert all the time, and it wouldn't matter. But at this point, I don't think that it's something that's probably necessary to do, but what we gotta do is make sure that if there is an issue, that we're willing to go out and take care of it. We don't have to put it off, and end up with that, ugly standoff that we had out there in the gravel road.
Yeah.
is this the one south of Thompson?
It is.
No, it's not with that.
Yep.
And we've kind of set a precedence now on what should have been done 80 to 100 years ago when they put that gravel road in. There should have been a culvert underneath it. And we changed the natural flow of the water. It should be going at a 45-degree angle across Froggy Howland's field. And he certainly doesn't want that. You know, I mean, if we were to put in a pipe, I would think that they would be willing to maybe pay for some of it. So they don't have that. I mean, I want everybody's fields to be fine, and the best way is to maintain this ditch. And otherwise, we should put in a culvert, because we've set a precedence that we go back, put in culverts when there should have been one. But,
Then you have to maintain the culverts too.
well, yeah, but it's not near as much as maintaining a ditch, maybe.
How many feet do you think it is?
300 feet of 18 to 24 inch pipe. Or maybe that's what you thought. I think that's what he told me.
We wheeled it together 300.
Yeah.
Right, so this is I think if everybody was in agreement that the culvert crossing the road was the right idea, that's what. And if both landowners agree to that, I think that's something we can do. In this case, it's a little bit harder to decide. If you look at original contours, kind of which way it would go through the hills. It's not as cut and dry as the other one. You have to start over. There's no other way it could go. So that's why mostly, you know, Al, I was reminding that if everybody was in agreement on it, it'd be a little more cut and dry.
Well, yeah.
And if bank sloughs off and he's got a chunk of his field that falls in the ditch, we'll come back out, rebuild that bank.
And, you know, possibly, if you have to, stick some rock in there and pack it in or whatever.
Some sort of a stabilizer.
Yeah.
Yep. And about the culvert in the ditch, running with the ditch, I said, it's not something that is standard procedure, so it's not something that
Well, I think just for now, until, I don't think it's gonna progress. I mean, the one spot there is kind of bad, but the water level never gets up that high to eat out at it more. It's usually a lower So I think at this point, well, we just have to make sure that if there is an issue, that we're gonna go back in the future and take care of it with either rock or whatever, or in the future, if it does get bad enough, maybe we'll have to consider the pipe that. I think he would just assume we do the pipe right now and get it over with, so he never has to think about it again.
Caveat to that, or piece I'll add, is that driveway culverts, like this would be, can be also.
Yeah, you have to jet them out every now and then possibly. Or they rust out over the years too, but, yeah.
Is there much fall in that ditch?
Well, there's plenty of
Now
fall,
there is.
yeah.
There wasn't before, I mean, there was some, you had shot the grade and make sure it worked, but once we get to the end of where we had ditch cleaned, there's a little bit, right, you can only fade it out so well into the sod,
Yeah.
so it would just puddle a little bit of, a few inches of water at the end, and he didn't like that, so went out there and improved the grade some, and.
Well, it was more than puddling water out there. It was cutting a channel through his field that he didn't like.
That was the original.
The original. Okay, all right, so I didn't even know you were out there the second time, so.
Yeah, the original time we cut the grade, it was much flat.
Yeah, all right.
It was, we have record of it. Wasn't sufficient collection, so made it steeper, and that made things.
Yeah.
We tried to find the right solution.
No, it's been addressed. It wasn't like it originally it went on too long before it got addressed. All right, well, that's all I had for that.
Okay.
So we'll move on to
Okay, thank you.
public hearing on proposed plan specifications, form of contract, and estimated total cost, project 95, CO 95, 2026 precast.
Where's this one at?
This is 3 different projects lumped together. One of them is the maintenance pipe north of Buffalo on Gravel Road. Bill's neighborhood up there. It's just a rusted out metal pipe, 66-inch diameter, kind of quick project. The bulk of this money goes to the 2 box culverts.
Not yet. Well, I wanted to know
Oh, okay.
We wanted to know who
where
should
it
open
was.
the meeting.
Yeah.
All of them are in.
Okay. You better open it then.
All right. I'll open the public hearing for I'll make a motion to open the public hearing on proposed plan specifications, form of contract, and estimated total cost for the project 95, CO 95, 2026 precast.
I'll second.
Motion from Jeswell, and a second from Smith to open the public hearing as stated. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Maybe I'll get the descriptions on record a little better. Okay. Excuse me. Okay, the maintenance pipe is north of Buffalo Center on 450th Street, just west of 10th Avenue. And then we're doing a paired bridge to box culvert project. And one of them is on 40th Avenue. One of them is on 400th Street, south of Buffalo, as the creek crosses kind of diagonal across the section. These are both wood bridges being replaced by 8x8 box. Our county crews will be installing them, so this is just the concrete. Took bids on this project. We got 2 bids. Materials. This is the lower bid from Rinker Materials. The total cost is $6,900.
You say we got more bids too,
We
or?
got 2 bids. The other one was significantly higher, Progressive Structures.
Okay.
Well, is there any
This is-
comment from the public?
So Rinker's somebody we've used before then? Or they took over?
They were Forterra, they were Pretex. We have used them a lot. They are our preferred contract logistics name.
Okay.
Recently.
All right, well, if there's no comment from the public, I'll make a motion to close the public hearing.
I'll second it.
On a motion, Gensel, a second from Derby to close the public hearing. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All right, consider for approval resolution accepting bids for 95 CO 9526 precast and award the contract to
Rinker,
was that, yeah, for 196,900.
900.
Oh. I guess it's my motion, I guess.
Okay, I'll second it.
Motion by Gensel and a second from Derby to accept bids from Rinker for 196,900 for the 95 CO 95 2026 precast. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay. Discussion regarding hazard mitigation plan for Winnebago County.
We had put together a hazard mitigation plan. Are you on the phone, Andy?
Yes, I am.
Did you send me an updated one after the fixes, or?
I haven't gone through and made the formatting and punctuation things that Chris suggested at this time. It will be done before I send it off, but there's nothing that changes the, I guess, meat potatoes.
The only thing that I had a question on was the paper stuff. It talked about the papers being Forest City Summit, and I was wondering if there was something that needed to be changed there.
Yeah, that is gonna have to change. It'll just be the Winnebago County Tribune at this point.
Okay.
Has joined.
So is this the result from the surveys that we took a year or two ago about what we thought was most eminent hazards?
The County Board of Supervisors representing the unincorporated areas, and then all of the incorporated municipalities as well as school districts went through those 2 meetings as well. It's taken me a little bit longer longer than I anticipated to get everything together, but, it's a heavy lift. You know, generally around the state, contractors do it. It costs about $35,000 per county, so just in order to save the county a little bit of money, I've taken it on myself. I've done that the last 2 times. So the plan, once we get it done and get things back from FEMA, and any edits they suggest, based on compliance with code federal regulation, then it'll be approved in good 5 years.
You ready?
All right, and,
10?
move on to number 10, consider for approval, resolution to approve hazard mitigation plan for Winnebago County.
I'll make a motion to approve the resolution to approve hazard mitigation plan for Winnebago County, with the adjusted changes on it.
I'll second it. A motion from Derby and a second from Jensvold to approve the resolution to approve hazard mitigation plan for Winnebago County with adjustments made and with the knowledge that there was no big changes, I believe he said. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All right. We will move on to discussion with possible action, EMS radio system by Buffalo Center.
Buffalo Center.
That's what it says on here,
No,
but
pretty much all county.
it's pretty much wherever it's needed, from what I understood.
Are you staying on, Andy?
Yes, I am.
Attaboy. There's the quote. This is Bricks. This is the texting. This is the app that all agencies have on their cell phones. Any responders, so on and so forth. That is what it would do. That's honestly about the only financially feasible option we have. I talked with even Wendy this morning, quick, like our boosters, like I said, tomorrow we're getting one put at the Thompson Fire Station. We got a grant through the Community Foundation for that, but that runs like, I don't know, $2,800 or something for a one-way booster. All it does is paging. You gotta put one in every building. We're looking at putting probably 2 or 3 out at Winnebago, out of Forest City Angles and Pocket through grants probably, but to help with paging out there. So every building that you have a problem in the county is gonna have that. We have to have a reliable backup plan. Monday was an absolute cluster because ISIX went down for, how long was ISIX down for? 2 hours?
More than that. It started about 1:30 in the morning and didn't reestablish until about sporadic.
The problem is with ISIX, it works great, but then when it goes down, there's no backup plan. So like, what's our plan? How are we gonna go about this? The last time around, yesterday, it was about 9 a.m., which was about an hour and a half before the thing came back online, that we finally got everything switched over to VHF again. And now the new batch of pagers we've ordered is only a single band. About half the radios we ordered are only single bands because they're so expensive to get bands, So we've started switching over to just 700. We can't afford everything. I mean, a dual band handheld radio is about $7,000 through the state bid, and then a single band is about I want to say they're like $1,800. Don't quote me on that, but significant dollar amount difference. Pagers save about $100 a pager to get single band pagers, so that's what we're running into.
The only thing I can come up with to help Buffalo Center with their paging problems, even like Mills, this morning I was on the way here in a fly car with my handheld on VHF, and I was about at the main metropolis over there at 60th Avenue on Highway 9, and all it is static on a port. Like, it's, I don't know what to, Wendy thought that, yeah, you're, for the money, this is about as best as we're gonna do. And the main drive on this is it alleviates the human link of having to send the bricks page, and it's going to improve right now, when dispatch is done, it sends an email, and then the email triggers the group to be dispatched through everything, and with doing this, it's more of a direct thing, is the best way I can explain it to you. If you guys, there is a demo video that I have pulled up on this tough book, if you want me to throw it on to understand better what the voice over IP is. There's other benefits that are coming to this rather than just paging. I have no idea what we could find for grants. There's grants out there. Some of the quote is, I would say, would probably fall back on the ambulances or fire departments. And remember, the station paging part of it is one piece of it, if that makes sense. So the station paging part will only work in the building. It makes the building alarm when there's a call. The voice over IP and everything else, that's the different stages in the quote. So on the quote, and I was trying to get him to break this down, but he never called me. There's parts of this, like anything with outdoor floodlight, recessed LED lighting, round ceiling speaker, bay pendant speaker, that kind of stuff, that's all going to be, those are items that we're going to put in, like the Forest City Ambulance Garage, the Buffalo Center Ambulance Garage, whatever. That's station specific. That I would think, more of a fall on the agency's expense than the installation of the voice over IP stuff and the annual fee after, so per year, annually for tech support, 365, 24/7 tech support, and just the software updates and everything else, that's $3,000 a year after it's installed. So that's your annual expense to maintain the system. Does that make sense?
Yep.
Yep.
It doesn't seem out of line either.
Yeah, it's not, and there's the thing of it, the other side of this is there's a lot of tweaking we can do to this. For example, if you go to the second page of the quote, Bricks Radio Interface Control Unit, 3 of them, we put 3 of them down because you need one per frequency that you're going to have the computer listening to. Does that make sense? Kind of. So I didn't know where to go with that. I was like, well, let's do 3. 1 for the paramedics, 1 for the Forest City Ambulance, and 1 for question mark. Just to put 3 on the quote. So I'm not saying that when we count, if we were to actually say, okay, this is what we want, we may only put 1 of them. Are we going to change how we page? I don't know. Is this right now? When we started setting up to switch to 700 paging, we had to apply at the state for frequencies for us to page on. Okay. So every agency in the county got their own frequency. So we applied for, and everyone has it. Like Scarville Fire already has their 700 frequency. The Forest City Paramedics have their own, or the county paramedics have their own. The Forest City Ambulance has their own. Now, I don't know, cost-wise, is it better to put everyone on one? Like have 1 for EMS and 1 for fire? I don't know exactly how this system works to tell you. I do know that there is, when you go into the station paging segment of it, I don't know how it works with voice pagers. Paging segment in the station, I know I could set my room on some of these. I could set my room to go off only if my truck was dispatched. So Forest City Ambulance might be going out on a call, and I might be crew 1 or crew 2, and only my room will go off if crew 1 goes out because the dispatcher assigns it. I don't know how it's going to look in Winnebago County, and this is a quote put together by someone that knows just enough to get in trouble. You know, what we may or may not need, but it's a pretty standard quote is what Rick said for what it would take to get a station online. The big things I voiced in on was like the lighting and the speakers and how many radio frequencies you have. That makes sense. So I don't know what step or where we need to turn to or what we need to do next. You guys want to know.
I want to know where the money's what part of a budget and whose budget is going to come out of.
And I don't know. I don't know what we have available. I have no idea. I
So,
know every time I talk to Jen, 911's budget just keeps getting cut. I don't know where do we come up with the money for upgrades or lack thereof or whatever to the current system, you know, like where does dispatch come up with their money? Do we know of any grants that we can write for it? How can we
come up
get
with
money to fix the problem? I don't know.
$93,000
Yeah.
plus $3,000 every year for
Yeah.
however long this is a relevant system?
Operational, yeah.
Wasn't there also like looking into using the cell phones?
This is the cell phone.
This is the cell phones, all right.
So what this does is
Because you were talking pagers and all that
the
stuff.
dispatcher will do the intake on the call, okay? So let's say, Billy, you call 911, you get a live person on the phone. As they are entering the information into the computer, what this does is it watches the information they enter, and once it gets enough information that it can decide the type of call, who to dispatch or what to dispatch, the computer dispatches it and does the voice over IP stuff where it reads the call for service and voice pages the ambulance over the pagers and sends out the BRICS notification all at the same time, simultaneously. And it could page. I know it has the capability of doing like Forest City Fire, Forest City Ambulance, and Thompson Fire all at the same time. It can simultaneously dispatch both agencies. The only problem you run into is the limitations are the radio frequencies. Does that make sense? So Buffalo or Thompson Fire and Forest City Fire, they operate on VHF. So you can only page one at a time. That makes sense to you because you're using that radio frequency. Kind of sort of, but you can page Forest City Ambulance and Forest City, you can, those use different radio frequencies, so they would go out at the same time, if that makes sense to you.
Yeah.
And there's a wait queue for the ones that use the same frequencies. They told me on the phone that it works with AB tones, which is the music that they play with the VHF system, make pictures go off. It sounds like music to us. They said that this works with AB tones. So, I mean, again, you know, it was a short demo and it was a kind of a generic quote that they threw together after Jen and I had talked about it as a possible grant opportunity. And I had Jen involved to see, you know, is this something that they'd be interested in? She said yes, but where's the money come from? Same thing that you guys say. Like, I have no idea.
So what's availability and implementation time?
When I talked to them back towards the first of the year, maybe the end of last, it doesn't sound like it'll take long, like probably a day or two of their crew here doing the installation. We didn't really look much into it. You know, what do we need to beef up? What do we need to change? What do we, you know, is there a different computer we have to buy? Is there, you know, I don't know. I'm not 100%. I can't tell you that, we could have this up and running by July 1st, you know, but I don't think it's a real long term, you know, I don't think it would take a long
are they like really readily available for maintenance? I mean, it's a maintenance service that we're paying for, but they'll fix it.
I mean, they understand that it's our lifeline, so if it's,
Yeah.
you know, if something
So I
goes
think it
down,
sounds
they
wonderful.
have tech support 24/7.
If it works,
Yeah,
it
if
sounds
it works,
wonderful.
It sounds great, and, you know, like I said before, the thing I like about from the dispatcher standpoint is it gives you that second dispatcher when the dispatchers are the busiest. It doesn't typically call in sick. Once in a while, I'm sure it will, but
So what about coverage? As long as you have cell phone
as long as
coverage?
you have cell phone coverage, you have, so then it would just be getting people to turn their app to critical alert, so no matter what their phone is, you know. Right now, a lot of people have the alert silenced because it's not a very reliable thing, you know, so if you're on call, you can set it to critical, so like I can have my phone on vibrate, but if Forest City goes out, I have mine set to silent because I've got every department in the county. Well, you about imagine what that does. So mine's on quiet because I usually carry a pager, and my pager, radio, whatever, great. So
Does this eliminate?
no, it would work with the pagers. And like our thing is there isn't a system out there that's 100%. Nothing's 100%, right? When you want 100% accuracy, you're gonna have two systems that are fairly decent to make them work. Because this would talk on the pager and it would speed up the cell phone app dispatch. Because once in a while, we get the bricks notification before the voice page goes off. So I mean, you know, the capabilities are there. I know the cell phone's reliable, but I think a lot of it is the human side of the world. You know, there's a couple dispatchers that know, hey, if I click this now, it'll send off bricks. If they're tied up talking to the person or can't get the other person on 911 to a hold point to page us, they'll click the bricks off. And because I've been going by quick start when the pager goes off, when the voice page finally goes off because the bricks came across. And usually it's high acuity calls where they're starting CPR or something, you know.
So the nice part is you've really already used this.
We currently use bricks. We currently use the free. They have a free. So back in the day, we used to have Active 911. Everyone loved Active 911. The problem was that's a paid subscription. So then during budget cuts, Jen found this, which is free. They offer free, just as for first responders, they offer free mobile messaging off of their stuff.
How does the Active 911 pay bricks?
I don't know. This is the only one I've looked into because this is the system we have. I'm more than willing to look into other ones. There's like the Phoenix G2 out there that does the same thing. I don't know if Active 911 does the same kind of thing. There's I Am Responding. Like there's a whole bunch of different mobile apps, but it's to try to get the human error.
Do you know how much the Active 911 cost?
We use it in Hancock County. It's $11 per device that you subscribe to for a year.
And on the EMS schedule, I think we have 74 people on the EMS schedule.
Less than 3,000. 7, 8.
But that takes us back to what we currently have on bricks. What Andy's saying is
That's what you already have.
What we already have for free.
Okay.
That's correct.
It is not apples to apples. That's what you're thinking, Billy, is in apples to apples. The 3,000 a year gets you the voice over IP, which is Alexa talking on the pager and dispatching the ambulances and fire for the human dispatcher on the 911.
So you're not paying for a subscription, you're paying for maintenance and tech support.
Yes, for the voice over IP.
Right.
What we have now is 100% free. It doesn't cost us a dime.
Right.
That's the reason that the switch happened to bricks over Active 911 was a budget.
But you're buying hardware, software, or whatever to make it work better. and more
to take
efficient,
the human part out.
right?
So the human can be doing this and we're not waiting on the human to send the bricks notification out. That's the only thing I can come up with. Like I said, there's no way we're spending $2 million on a tower. I know that. I mean,
That's the 100% solution.
the 100% solution, no.
Andy,
Now, the
did
tower
your,
still won't be 100%.
No, it's still not gonna be 100%.
Andy, how does your tower work?
It works well. I mean, Hancock County didn't have anything, and so the two main population centers in Hancock County, Garner and Britt, when we switched over, we're noticing same thing that what Joe's talking about. We had huge gaps because we had to rely on the tower north of Leland. We had to rely on the Burt Tower, Cerro Gordo. So that was the selling point for us. I mean, at the time it was 1.6 million. But yeah, has it solved all our problems? Absolutely not. But did it make it better? Absolutely it did. And Joe is right. I mean, there's nothing 100%. But yeah, $2 million would make it better, but it wouldn't just solve all the problems in the world, in my opinion.
I'd give it about 95%, as long as the tower doesn't go down. As long as ISIX doesn't go down, because that's the next problem. You run into what's your, when the state system goes down, what?
They have generator out there though.
I think what causes it to go down? It's a computer problem, isn't it, Andy?
Yeah, with some zone controllers, it's literally the first time we've had an outage like this since we started using it, but I mean, perfectly timed, and the state of Iowa and Motorola did a very poor job of notifying us. It was the dispatch centers around the state that started asking each other, hey, you have a problem? That's how we really knew what was going on. But yeah, it was not a good day.
And like the problem from our standpoint when it goes down, yeah, it knocks out comms for the cops, it knocks out radios, it knocks out all of that. But like our problem is okay, Andy said it went down at what, 1:30, 2 o'clock in the morning?
Yeah.
Well, now how do I get my crew in Buffalo Center that's 100% relying on their pager? How do I notify them at 2 in the morning that, hey, your pager's not gonna go off? Do I roll the dice and wait for an ambulance call and just hope they answer their phone at 2 in the morning, or do I
We may have to set up protocol for all this.
Yeah. But my mindset goes, if ISIX is down and, we become reliant on bricks, okay, there's your B plan, if one or the other isn't working. If we can make bricks more reliable or whatever computer software it would be, if we can make people become more reliant on their cell phones.
Makes sense.
Thompson Fire Department, they've had a lot of problems with paging for quite some time, and I'm pretty positive for the last couple of years, they've pretty much almost always just relied on bricks, which is sometimes where they get their spotty response from, is because bricks didn't go off, or bricks was down, or, but they run into the same problems that Buffalo Center's running into, is getting pagers that'll go off. I know they were looking at buying the new pagers that we bought for Forest City. They'd reached out, they'd gotten a grant to get new pagers and stuff. I don't know how they're working. I don't think they're paging 700 yet, but I mean, yeah. So yeah, a tower's gonna help. It ain't gonna fix it. You're always gonna have a basement somewhere that the pager didn't go off, or you're always gonna have, this corner of the grocery store or whatever.
No, there are some buildings that just aren't very signal friendly.
The thing that I like about 700 is on the digital radio, your pager will bonk most of the time, almost all the time. Your pager or radio bonks if it's not receiving signal. So it sends out, because it's looking for signal, just like your cell phone does, it looks for signal, versus the old VHF, the analog. It's about like the FM radio on your car,
So if you're in a dead spot, it will alert you.
Yeah.
Hmm.
The other day, I left the courthouse and I went up to the city hall. and I missed a call, and I caught onto it because I stepped around the corner of a desk, and then all of a sudden, I got signal, and then I heard radio traffic, and I was like, what's going on in Forest City? I'm the duty medic. Come to find out, my pager didn't go off because I was in the city hall, and just right that little spot, it wasn't a strong enough signal to make it go. You have those weird occurrences. But again, I had bricks in my pocket and knew that bricks went off and, paid attention to that. That's the hope in that. I don't know what else to do. I don't know how else the guy could go about fixing it.
So what percentages or what part of the pie do you think that the individual
Services would pay?
Yeah. I just a thought.
No,
It's a lot of coordination.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know 100% where the amplifier would go. The installation, 20,000, some of that's gonna be in the comm center, some of that's gonna be at the station, I'm sure. So, even if you went a 50-50, say 10 and 10. Outdoor floodlight, recessed LED light, round ceiling speakers, that's all station stuff. I don't know what the 12U rack mount enclosure is. I think that's stuff for up at this.
I think so, yeah. If it's a rack.
Yeah. And then there's the bass speaker, that'd be ambulance, obviously. Radio interfaces, that would be stuff up at dispatch. Rick's fire station, station control unit. So the 27,000, I'm not certain where that would go. That description reads like it would maybe go in the fire station.
Yeah.
And that's more station alerting than it would be voice over IP.
Do we need to have a meeting with the communications department
I was gonna say, I'm wondering,
911 commission and the supervisors?
That might be good.
and I'm almost wondering about just like county EMS and bringing fire departments in.
That's what. As soon as you started talking about the fire department, it's like, where are they in this equation?
Yeah.
Same boat.
Yeah.
We're all sitting in the same boat together.
So, yeah, I
I
think.
know, they're struggling at times with the 700 radios and trying to get money and, trying to get on board with 700. They're farther behind EMS with 700 radios because of the expense.
So would it be all of the fire stations then?
Yeah,
All of them.
The ultimate goal is to have every agency on the 700 is existing,
I think
is the ultimate.
that's the place to go to then.
Have a meeting with communications, 911,
Fire.
EMS.
And get a plan together so we know
Yeah,
what
and
right
sooner
hand
than-
wants and what left hand needs. And
Sooner than later, because it kind of sounds like this has been an ongoing thing for quite a while. I mean, if you were
yeah.
checking into it in December,
yeah,
it's time to.
the quote was issued November 24th of 2025.
It expires February
Expires in
22nd.
February. And when I contacted him to get a quote, I asked him about upgrading. He says, I'll just resubmit.
Oh.
So
So
this got re-emailed after our last meeting.
Okay.
Okay.
Because I couldn't access it anymore because it had expired.
Well, I think it's pretty important to.
So
Get
where
on it.
would we have this meeting? Fire state or your
Can we have it
fire
at the
hall
fire?
or nature center or?
The nature center would probably be a better option. Because it's closer for like Buffalo Center, if you want people from Buffalo Center to get in there.
Yeah.
And then, if people are on call for EMS World, they can typically, at least Buffalo or Lake Mills and Fort City can go up to the North Junction. That's a pretty common ground.
So the fire chief, or we need
Each
one
fire
from
chief.
I
each
would
fire chief,
Work
or
with Jennifer to
Get
get
her.
contacts for all of the people that we, and then when would we want to do this? Is this like a 4:30 thing? Is it a?
Probably more like if we're involving the volunteer fire and EMS is probably more like the 6 o'clock.
Try to avoid their fire meetings.
Yeah, if we could work around the fire meetings, those are set.
Forest City's on Mondays, Thompson is Mondays,
Lake Mills is Wednesdays.
Lake Mills is Wednesdays, Buffalo Centers is
Tuesdays,
I think.
Is it every Tuesday or?
once a month. on
So if we
Tuesday.
just
Either once
avoid
or every
that,
other, one of the two. I don't know
Yep.
the train, but.
Well, there's some guys up there.
Thursday
I
at
was gonna say
6
Thursdays are
o'clock
pretty solid,
at
and
the
I only-
nature center.
yeah.
That's closed today. I got a notification this morning that it's closed today.
Yeah, and Jennifer, you know, either we can get her to reach out, or I know almost all the chiefs, except for Scarville, but I have Scarville.
See, if I would say within the next couple months,
Oh, I would say within the month.
that would be
good.
ideal.
And I could see if Bricks would have someone available that would
Yeah,
do like a web. Do you guys want me to look at different providers to see, you know, you want me to get a quote from a Phoenix G2? Do you want me to get a quote from Active 911? Do you want me to look into them,
I don't think
into
it hurts
other
to get an
things
extra
a little
quote.
more?
you know, extra quote don't hurt anything, but
Okay.
who is logistically the closest to us as far as
I don't
Service.
service?
Is it all online service?
I was gonna say, I don't think logistically it'll really matter, because I think a lot of it's gonna be
Just they got,
IP,
yeah, they're just gonna do it from a
yeah,
remote.
do remote,
I
would
think
be my guess. I
one
don't
more
know.
would be nice, but I think you've already got a history with this Bricks, you know, so another one just to see.
Probably look and see if there's one that will solve some of the problems you have with bricks.
Yeah, and the thing with Bricks is a lot of the volunteer agencies are going to tell you that they don't like Bricks. They want to go back to Active time, blah, blah, blah. And I get that. There are things about it that were a learning curve for even me. The problem I think we experience mainly with Bricks is how Bricks is getting the information, which Jen has been working to get through meeting with these guys. We learned of a different way to send the information to Bricks, which in turn speeds the notification up. Because that's what a lot of people complain that Bricks goes down a lot and that it takes too long for the message to get up. Like,
If we were to apply for grants, would the Winnebago,
Community Foundation.
no, I'm talking about who would be applying
Oh,
for it.
Winnebago EMS.
Yeah. That's a nonprofit 501c3.
I mean, we could do that.
I think-
Does Lake Mills still go out to the casino a lot?
No,
Ambulance? Good.
Lake Mills, so our territory in Worth County is the three most western townships, and then half of, what's the other one on the bottom? Danville?
Yeah.
Is it Danville? Danville
So-
and Fertile?
Mhm.
Whichever one the interstate runs through, we only go over to Jonquil, which is a mile and a half east of the interstate.
Well, if we were still going to the casino a lot, we might be able to get some money out of them maybe, but
I hadn't argued.
maybe still, but,
You can ask.
I made a comment to them once. They said, you know, it's kind of funny that you deny our grants. I said, because I've physically done CPR in the game twice. It's a good thing we're out of county, huh? What? Yeah.
So you've had to cover for the Northwood service?
There was one time I was in I was in Lake Mills clearing from a call, and they were paging them, and I offered them help, and we went, and as Northwood was walking in, we shot the guy and we got him back. And then there was another time that Northwood was BLS, and they called us for an intercept, and we intercepted the Northwood ambulance coming down the interstate to help them with a cardiac arrest. That one wasn't as happy, but yeah, so twice we've gone there.
like the Hanson Foundation or something like that, check with them.
Hanson Foundation.
The Lay Foundation for over that
Buffalo
way.
Center,
Yeah,
the
yeah,
Lake
they got the Lay
Foundation,
Foundation too.
Well, and what,
He's done fire department stuff and ambulance over there.
and we, like, I don't know, I'd have to talk to my sweet loving ex-wife to see but Valero just gave money to, the ambulance for New Lucas
Yeah.
Medical Center.
Well, I'm just
It's
thinking,
usually almost every year you see them giving some kind of a check to the departments.
Community or,
Yeah.
you know, whether it's clinic, but I don't know where they're at with everything. The other thing was, that I was wondering was, do you guys have any good contacts with existing or future wind farms coming into the area?
He's sitting right back there.
God,
Yeah.
you guys really gotta tell me about this.
Yeah, right there.
Don't know of
You
anything.
like, 'cause are you the one that's going in by like, or are you existing?
No, I work with next year,
That's, okay. So like the ones over by Buffalo Center and, cause there's.
that's Alliant.
That's Alliant and then the ones by Thompson or something.
They have the ones,
You guys have the
south.
ones by Thompson now?
they have the Crystal Lake 1 and 2, or whatever it is.
Crystal Lake.
More closer. A little bit big ones.
You guys own all the way up to Thompson though, don't
But
you?
then.
Yeah.
No, I think those are different.
No, they were bought by Nexera, weren't they?
I think they operating by the Thompson, they may have, I would have to clarify, I don't think they.
They originally were Florida Light and Power,
Mm-hmm.
and then it changed hands, I thought.
Yeah, I would have to clarify, because I don't think they.
Okay. But they maintain them, maybe?
Maybe something like that, but it's not theirs. Because I know specifically there were like questions about that.
But regardless, the
Yeah.
coverage is
You know, if we can get.
widespread.
I'm just looking for a grant process, because I know some of them have grants.
The other one would be ITC, the one that sends all the electricity, those
true.
big poles.
Yeah.
Doesn't Kirtland have grants too?
Yep, they give us, usually we write them and get, theirs are a little smaller.
Yeah.
You know,
How about Dairyland?
but they, I don't know, I've never wrote Dairyland.
Good luck.
They go right through our county. I mean, they service our county and the cities and everybody.
Dairyland might be more receptive than Alliant.
Kirtland is the whole city.
Well, I don't know. Alliance says that any excess power I generate on solar goes to charity. They donate it. Well, we'll see.
Yeah.
So they have a donation arm.
Yeah, and you know, that's what I'm, you know, just contacts and sometimes weed through it, but, do have the potential, we've got a member on our service that works for Rock Collins. He just started, he said that Rockwell Collins is really big with communication grants.
Mm.
So I don't know if this would be something that would fall under them. And then we've got, Laura Friesenberg. You would know her as Laura Satchery.
Yeah.
That's what her business is writing grants. So she's been
Oh, I didn't know
kind of
that.
starting to help. She does a lot with like educational, the way I understand
She's
it,
really
like
smart.
colleges.
Mm.
But she's trying to help us get a little more organized with grant writing.
Good.
So
Nice.
About May 21st or May 28th.
I don't know, fine.
Planting might be done by then too. Planting might be mostly done by then.
Yeah. What Satchery is she married to?
The Satchery
She
married
used to
to
be-
Lonnie Friesenberg.
it'd be Corky and
Yeah, all right.
Corky's daughter.
Yeah, all right. It's she
His daughter.
was a
She
Satchery.
was a Satchery. I
Oh,
think
all
you
right,
wouldn't
all
know
right.
her as a
I just
Satchery.
remember
All right,
back
yeah,
when she was in
I
high
heard it
school,
the other
she
way
got
around.
all the high awards.
Yeah. Yeah, 'cause her
I think it'd be-
brother graduated.
I think it
my
would be a
sister.
time to
Yeah.
utilize any grants we can and utilize our Winnebago County EMS or whatever to go out for grants because of the collaboration involved and it is a existing nonprofit, right?
28th, you're saying, or which
I'd
other?
say the
21st or
21st is a day, as far as I can tell, I don't do that. What are we at? We're at the 28th, so May weekend.
Can we pull it together fast enough to do it on the 21st?
I'd be duty medic. I don't really care, like, we can do it either way. The 21st, I'm not duty, so it's a better chance. of me.
21st is better for me.
Yeah, I think it,
Yeah, we
shoot
should
for
do
that.
too. I wouldn't think it would take super long. I can go work
Send out
on it a little this morning. I can hit it over the week. This took them not a week even originally to do it, but
and we were talking what time?
6.
I would say probably 6. Is the nature, do you guys have availability to check the nature center, see if it's available?
I'll take care of that.
Am I nervous?
Cause
It's a lack of magnesium in your diet.
She's not eating it yet.
Oh, no, she's not eating them, yeah.
We go another half hour, she might start.
Yeah, I don't know if that's true, just saying something.
I start.
Okay, that sounds like a plan.
No. Do you guys, does your company have any grant opportunities or?
I don't work for NextEra.
Okay,
I work with them,
okay.
but I can tell you that we have brought this to their attention. I don't know per se they have grants, or they don't have like grants awards, but they do donations. Basically for the Lake Mills Fire Departments, they give them some money for some pagers to make sure that all their members have pagers. So that, yes, they do want to be involved in the community, so this.
Kind of PR investments.
Yeah, they want to be, I mean, they're not just, they're here, they want to be part of the community.
Do you have contact information? Of course, the fire department probably has contact information for them. For who to contact on that.
It would be Chad.
Chad.
Once, like with Crystal Lake, it becomes a transition between the time that it's being developed and the construction to the operation side. But certainly, that happens, county, first responders, right now, Chad.
Okay. Yeah, we got his contacts, so.
All right, well, sounds like we got a plan for now.
Patch together one.
Yeah, no, well, it doesn't sound like there's anything that's perfect.
So our to-do list is we're gonna
We're gonna get a couple
Work
more
with-
quotes.
work with Jennifer to get, the 911 commission. We're gonna try and get the tech committee, right?
Yeah, or even just, I would just say we can invite them, but I would make sure that we just get all the agencies, give them the opportunity to get.
Fire,
We wanna have
fire
opportunity
and
to have
ambulance
representatives
and,
there.
Do we want deputies there? They have issues with paging too?
We could get Mike in there, and that would be a double-edged sword that catch Buffalo Fire, could catch Buffalo Fire and Sheriff's Office all in one. I mean, I don't really care if they bring 6 guys to the meeting,
I was at a meeting recently, though, that was really helpful, where if you had any questions, you didn't get to ask them during
you put them on notes.
you put them on notes, and, the information was dispersed that we needed to get out to everybody, and if they had questions, they could write it, because otherwise it just,
goes on forever.
it gets too long-winded and you lose people. It was just an excellent way of,
Is this something that we
through it.
wanna, have, people on, Zoom or conference call so they can call in case they can't make it?
That's just gets,
Complicated.
I was gonna say that, my feelings is it would be complicated for doing it up at the nature center, and we're gonna have a bunch, my feeling is we're gonna have a bunch of, well, I've got this question, that question,
yeah.
But
So
on,
if
but
we-
on Zoom, you can type it in
type of
And
question.
of course, if you're in a tractor, it's hard to type it in.
But that might be for a subsequent meeting. I think with this initial meeting, it makes sense to just have it.
Person only.
Yeah,
Do you wanna have a time during the meeting, presentation or whatever? Do you wanna have a time during the meeting where we address questions that are either like texted or emailed in during the presentation at the end?
Yeah,
Is that how it worked, or was it?
yeah.
Were they
What,
addressed at a different meeting?
well, the ones that they couldn't get to within a time frame were addressed later on a text
On
or
an
an email.
email.
And then, so here's the answer. We didn't get to your question, and it went to everyone, which was really helpful.
Yeah.
It was good.
Okay.
So, then it doesn't turn into 9 o'clock at night and you still are having a discussion about only one aspect of it.
You know, a guy should be able to have a presentation done in an hour and then a half hour for questions and out by 7:30.
And then you've got the questions in front of you and you just, or whomever is moderating it, read it and
Yeah,
go from there.
I kinda like that idea. What do you think, Carla?
Sounds beautiful.
It was a great meeting, way efficient.
So at the table, everybody's got some post-it notes they
Yep.
can pass on what the question is.
I'm gonna do this and every time I get one.
Can you get one for me too?
no, just get a shock collar, and then
Not-
if he starts getting long, you beep him
I
first.
could be sick for this meeting if you'd like to present.
Not- And not just for Joe.
Well, you gonna put one on yourself too? Is that what you're talking
It's
about?
just so easy to get
Huh?
down that wormhole and then you don't get the information out.
Well, get the information out first and ask questions
Not
later.
pointing fingers,
Yeah,
because
no,
there's other people that
For me,
really
the thing
can,
of it, like, is to get everyone to the same level so you understand what we're talking about, this is you guys, but
yeah,
what you guys know about paging and everything else, what's
nothing,
very little.
nothing.
you know.
And in fact, I didn't even personally know that there was this problem up there
Well,
until
Until it starts-
couple
I've
months
known
ago.
over the years that Lake Mel's and Buffalo Center and Thompson have always had problems. We tried to address them through
I
the,
think when I was on the fire
911
department, it was just a whistle that blew.
time to
Yeah.
make it
I don't
happen.
think we had pagers.
The thing of it is it's just life in general has caused, it's not one specific problem. And that was part of the reason to go to the 700 is to get rid of some of the interference.
Yeah.
Because the problem with VHF, the AM, FM radio, I mean, how driving around in your car, you used to could get this certain radio station for whatever, and now you can't anymore. Well, it's because of all the radio signals and all the other interference. It's not just windmills or big buildings or look at all the GPS signals bouncing around. Everything else, it's all interference. So,
well, I think we're
Well, I appreciate you bringing it
moving
all to our
forward anyway.
attention.
We're not moving back.
I don't know what, if I had the answer all, we'd have it, but.
No, unfortunately, there's,
You gotta have all the right questions first, and then we can see if we can,
Figure something through,
yeah, it's too important
yeah.
to not get it solved, for sure. All right,
So yeah, if you guys want, on your free time, there's different demo videos at this Brickstock, if you go, just Google them online, you can go, there's a, different, like, video,
Okay.
you can click under products, you can go to, like, station alerting and that kind of thing, if you wanna kind of look them up.
Is that something to distribute to some of the people that'll be involved, or so they
Well,
can look at it? Before they go there?
We could start meeting playing demo, it's only, I've got it pulled up, I didn't know if you guys wanna see it or not, but it's only like a 2-minute demo.
Okay.
So a guy we can pick the one we like best and play that demo, and then have comparisons
Okay, all right.
between the two, I would say maybe.
All right.
I don't know, what does the nature center have for like electronic, do they have?
Well,
like
they've
a-
got Wi-Fi. I'm sure we just
but
have
do
to
they have,
access
like,
it.
a TV or something, plug into and play a video on?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, if
we played that drone,
I
those
can
drones.
bring my nice little projector. We just hook up to that, to a wall or something.
I think that TV's all over the place.
Yeah.
I have never been in there.
Yeah. It's 2 big rooms, well, and the downstairs.
Downstairs.
But I don't know if they're set up for projects or anything down there. I haven't been down there for a
do
while.
they have tables and stuff?
They have work tables down there. I don't know if you can set it up for people sitting around.
How many people are on the 911 board?
It's every community, and actually, I think 911 includes Crystal Lake, the town, somebody from Crystal Lake.
Hmm.
Can't remember that, the two commissions that we meet, the Public Safety Commission and the 911 Commission, we, meet at the same time, one after the other. I can't remember which one had the Crystal Lake representative, but it's every community, and so like, I know Thomas used to come from Lake Mills, and somebody from either the administrator or the police chief from Forest City.
I wonder if WCA would have some kind of grant with this being internet and idea.
That's a great thought, Joe.
You said Thomas and Lake Mills, I was like, hey, wait a minute.
That's a great thought.
And like 911, see, 911 is funded by the taxes on your cell phones. And public safety one, that's funded, we're half the budget, and then the cities make up the other half, prorated to their populations.
Yeah, we'll
Seems
keep an
like-
eye open.
You have contacts with WCTA too?
Not really. Just check. Like Ross, he's on Lake Mills ambulance.
Well, you could start with Marty. Marty
He's
works
on
there.
the ambulance, he's in the county
Mm-hmm.
role or something.
He would
like
get
that.
you to the right
He
place.
could embezzle us some funds. Yeah.
Oh my.
I'm glad this is online.
Oh my, Susan. It's like we're cardiac monitor.
Glad you're here, Joe.
All right, well,
Save us, please.
I think we've pretty much covered that
Yeah,
subject.
that's
now.
good.
All right,
Well,
Thank you
I'll
for
get-
that
I'll
work.
dig in a little more and get you what you want.
Before it goes
move on to number 12, open forum.
I'll be in touch, Joe.
Okay,
You
and
be
I'll
in touch.
get with Jen and make sure we get the right.
Has
left. Know what we-
Okay.
Thanks,
the-
Joe.
I almost forgot my coffee cup.
Oh no.
Oh, man, can't survive without that.
Yeah, those 911 funds got dipped into by the state last year.
Mm-hmm.
So that cut some of that budget.
Yeah, I remember.
Now they're
bringing
trying
that-
to put it back.
I
I
remember
don't know
bringing
if
that
they
up
happened.
at the legislative forum.
Yeah, that was the most ridiculous thing I heard. It's just like, come on,
Oh,
you guys.
okay. Okay, cool beans. Thank you. I'll see you later.
Do each of these? No, these don't need to be stamped.
Just the signature.
So I do have something for open forum. So I've been having conversations with constituents in the northern part of my district,
Up in Norman.
up in Norman, and lots of concerns going on still about what the progress is on that reclamation area there, and the zoning and what's going on there. So we either need to get both Matt Duvet, he did answer a text to me, and Kelsey, and try to figure out where we're at on that and
Next steps.
the next steps on that. You know, the difficult thing is that there are people who want to actually build residences and don't want to, because
Next
of
to
that.
it.
And then there's
recycling
also
place.
people who would perhaps choose to sell their home, but wouldn't be able to find a buyer.
It's been going
You
on
know.
for a while.
It has. So, there's more concerns being brought up than just something that's unsightly, you know?
Is it
So-
possible to get Matt to send us an update by email where we're at and what we're waiting for?
So the last response I got from Kelsey and from Matt is that Matt said he'd follow back up with this gentleman's lawyer, and that he did speak with him a few weeks ago to set up another meeting to try to wrap it up. So maybe we can,
So I'd probably wait for that a little bit, but probably wouldn't hurt to contact our county attorney what our next step is to be ready to do something if we're not
Yes.
getting action.
yeah.
So do we want to try and set up a meeting in 2 weeks or something?
That's what I would do. I think it needs to be something actually set up where it's convenient for Kelsey and Matt to give us any updates or where we're at on it.
I know she hasn't been busy in any major court cases because I was on jury duty through this week and I didn't have to go in once.
Oh, there you go.
And I'm done.
All right. So I don't know if we can figure out, not this next week or the next week, if we can add something to the agenda. That'd be great.
Alright, I will get them.
You want to let Matt know we're putting it on the agenda for
Send it to him
For
right
what
now.
day?
I'll talk to Kelsey and find what day works for her.
Okay.
And then I'll send it to
okay.
Perfect. That's perfect. Good. That's all I had.
All right. Anything else for open forum? Hearing nothing.
I think that's